You are listening to Woodland Walks, a podcast for the Woodland Trust. We protect and plant trees for people to enjoy, to fight climate change and to help wildlife thrive.
Good morning, I'm Jules Acton. I'm Ambassador for the Woodland Trust. I've been in this job for 10 years this month and it's been a fantastic 10 years. I've loved every day because I get to meet some amazing trees and woods. And even more than that, I also get to meet lots of amazing people who love trees and woods and who are inspired by them. So Woodland Trust members, other supporters, staff and volunteers. And I think one of the reasons people love trees so much is not just for the fact they provide all the wonderful services, they store our carbon, they provide fresh air, they can help filter pollution. But they're also absolutely entwined in our culture, and that's been taking place over hundreds and thousands of years. So particularly our native tree species are absolutely embedded in our culture, and every old tree has a story to tell. Now, the reason we're here today is that we're going to talk about Tree of the Year, and the theme of the Tree of the Year is culture and the way trees are embedded in culture. 10 magnificent trees have been chosen by a panel of experts. Each has a wonderful story to tell, and members of the public can go and vote for their favourite tree on the Woodland Trust website. We are here in Bradgate Park car park. It is a golden morning and we're surrounded by trees. I can see oak trees, hawthorns, birches, hazels. It's absolutely gorgeous with the dappled sunlight falling down on us through the leaves. We're here to meet a particularly special tree. It's Bradgate Park's oldest oak tree, and it's about a 20 minutes walk from the car park. So I see my colleague Natasha. She's over there waiting at the edge of the car park, waiting for Matt. Hello, Natasha.
Hello. Oh, hi.
Can you tell us a bit about your role, Natasha, and what you do at the Woodland Trust?
Yeah, I'm a social media officer, so I just help create and schedule all social media content, jump on whenever there's an opportunity, like today.
And today you're going to be helping with the recording?
Yeah, getting a few clips behind the scenes of how we record the podcast so we can share that, and a few bits for our website as well, and YouTube.
Thanks, Natasha. Now, I think we have just seen somebody drive up who might well be Matt. He's appeared in a very groovy looking buggy, and here we go. I believe this is Matt.
Hi.
Hello.
Good morning, Jules.
Hello, Matt. Hi, lovely to meet you.
Good. Nice to meet you. Welcome to Bradgate Park.
Thank you. Can you tell us a little bit about your role, Matt? And
So, yes, I've worked at Bradgate Park for just over 20 years now. Main sort of roles on the site are woodland management and caring for the ancient trees that we've got that are of European importance. And I also get quite involved with dry stone walls and repairing them. I lead a group of volunteers on a Thursday, and as we go across the site, I'm sure I can show you some of the work that we've been doing.
Oh, brilliant. And you're going to particularly show us a very special tree, I believe.
Yes, I believe we might be able to find that. The tree is approximately 830 years old. It predates the Magna Carta, and I'd certainly like to take you to the tree and tell you a bit more about it.
Right, we're just getting ready to go, and all around us are people enjoying the park. There are some people walking up hills. There are lots of dogs. There's one very cute little brown dog that's having a little dip in a little stream, a little brook really, at the edge of the park. It's already quite a warm day, so I think it's having a nice little cool down.
We're back en route towards the special tree with the beautiful dry stone wall to our right, and across the left there's a plantation, and then there's also a sort of a bit of a wood pasture environment, would you call it, Matt, with some native trees dotted around in the landscape.
Yeah, very much so. So this is Horgex Valley. We're looking across to Dale Spinney. The park itself is 830 acres, of which spinneys represent about 10% of the Harpen area, so it's quite a large proportion. All the spinneys were planted on the hilltops across the park. That's not just by chance, and they were created around about 1830s, 40s by the sixth Earl of Stamford, and now we see the spinneys that we've got here today. So you've got quite a mature stand of trees, and quite a lot of softwood, but then we've got a mixture of hardwoods in there. We certainly replant hardwoods in the spinneys.
How would you define a spinney as opposed to, other kinds of woods?
Nice easy question. I would say you both got different names at woodlands, and we're in Charnwood Forest, but a forest isn't just trees, it's clearings. And I would say copse is a small woodland. I would say the spinneys is probably like slightly larger than that, and then you go up towards a wood. I could be totally wrong.
I like it though. So Matt, you say you've been here 20 years.
Yeah.
So you obviously
22.
22, yeah. So you obviously love it. And what is it that keeps you here?
Well, I was born in Leicester and came here as a young child playing, and to end up working here as a job, it's certainly a nice place to be coming to, and beautiful surroundings, fresh air, and then I've just got a real passion for particularly a lot of the heritage crafts that we keep alive on the estate. So yes, we go down and we manage the woodlands, but we're actually carrying out coppicing operations, and that they go back to the Stone Age, and then other work on the site, for instance dry stone walling, which we're approaching a gap now that we've been repairing, and is obviously another heritage craft. And for me, I just think it's really important because we're passing on these skills, heritage crafts, onto the next sort of generation.
That's brilliant. And do you train sort of volunteers or is it staff members in this kind of thing?
I've trained up to level 2 in walling. That's something I went up to Derbyshire to do. We've actually got another chap on site now, Leon. He was in the armed forces, and Leon is doing his levels in walling as well. I believe he's already got level 1 and 2. He's working towards his 3. We might be able to pop and see him in a bit, but I guess the focus should be trees today.
Yeah,
but,
we have time. That'd be great.
We'll pop and see
how
Leon.
we go.
But this is certainly a large gap of wall that we've been doing on the estate. We've got 17 miles of dry stone wall to maintain. The deer park itself goes back to 1241, but its the boundaries changed slightly over the years, and the largest extent of the deer park was probably around about 1550, and that would have certain parts of the boundary are dry stone wall, and that's obviously what we're left with today, and we need to maintain that. Not only does it keep the deer inside the park, which is obviously beneficial for a deer park, it's fantastic habitat for various sort of reptiles to live in, and adders, grass snakes, things like that. Okay.
Oh, fantastic. So we're looking at one of the dry stone walls, and it's, I'd say, about shoulder height, would you say? And it's grey, almost slatey looking stone, actually. Can you tell us what kind of the stone it is?
So on this side of the park, it's a little bit more slatey. Towards Newtown Linford, that's more of a granite. The walling that we do on the park is called random coursed walling. So yes, as we build the wall up, you start with the larger stones at the bottom, and as the wall tapers up, it angles in. That's called the batter of the wall. You can see the frame we've got that we're working to, that have got the building lines in. So this one is 80 centimetres at the bottom, tapering up to 40 centimetres at the top. Originally, this was actually a lime mortar wall, and a lot of walls on the park are lime mortar, but it is possible to rebuild dry, but we do a mixture of both on the estate.
That's great, and it's just lovely to see these heritage practices being kept alive. And you mentioned the coppicing as well, which is absolutely very much part of woodland culture going back centuries, isn't it? I believe it goes back to the Vikings, maybe even earlier. I don't know if you know anything about the history of it, Matt.
Yeah, well, certainly the Stone Age, coppicing, going back to the Stone Age. It's the process of cutting the tree down to ground level. Not all trees will coppice. Certainly oak will. That's where copped oak gets the name from, coppiced oak. Hazel is the primary tree species that we are coppicing, certainly in Woodland Woods, and we've got a management plan in place. We've just come to the end of a 10-year management plan that we're supported by there's a lady called Liz Sharkey who comes up with a great plan for us. We're just starting in November will be the next 10-year plan, and the intention of that is to create the most diverse habitat that Woodland Woods is, and it will create a mosaic of habitats, different age stands within the structure of the woodland, and part of that will be coppicing rotation, and that will open up the floor of the woodland, let light in, and that will benefit bluebells and wood anemone and all the related bird species and invertebrates.
This is all music to our Woodland Trust ears. Thank you, Matt. Shall we continue on our little tour?
Yeah, okay. I will turn this very loud.
Just not actually sure how to get out the car, but
That's it.
okay, yeah. Natasha's on it. Thanks, Natasha. Okay, so we are walking up to not the tree we're here to see, but we couldn't resist this one because it's really special, and it's a gnarly oak tree, kind of growing out of what looks like a big craggy load of rocks. Matt, could you tell us a bit more about this tree?
Yes, I can. So it's English oak, and some of the it's growing out of granite, and some of the rocks on the park are actually some of the oldest rocks, certainly in Britain and the world. 560 million year old rocks that we've got on the park. It's all part of the designation actually of the park. It's triple SI, geological interest in the park, and also the veteran trees are also part of that designation, and we have just become a National Nature Reserve as well, Bradgate Park.
Well, congratulations. And could you just explain the triple SI to us, just so people understand what the abbreviation means?
A site of special scientific interest. So there's many layers to Bradgate Park. People might just want to come, have a nice walk, enjoy the views. Then people might be more interested in the geology of the park. So we get a lot of people that are coming out and looking at the rocks, looking for fossils, and they're able to, from that age, the rocks on the park. And then other designations that we've got are related to the ancient trees, and that all forms a bigger picture that makes the park so important that it has to be protected.
Fantastic. And one of the things that I've just noticed on both this very old oak tree and also on the rocks there's a lot of lichens.
Yes.
They're gorgeous, so they're sort of just splattered with them. Some of them just look like little sort of paint splats, don't they?
Yeah.
They're in different colours. We've got white ones, green ones on the rocks I'm looking at, sort of greyish ones. And some are crusty, some are very flat, which is, I think, the nature of lichens. Do you know much about the lichens on that?
I certainly know that we need to keep the lichens exposed to the sunlight, so we have to clear bracken, so they're not getting shaded out. They take a long time to form, and I certainly know that they need good, clean air. So that is a good sign. If you're seeing lichens, you're in a good place as a human being.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of the things about oak trees as well is because they're long-lived trees, they provide particularly important habitat for lichens, because many lichens are really, really slow growing, so they need a very slow, stable habitat. Yeah. So whether it be the rocks or the very old tree, and you'll get different species associated with the different environments as well.
Yeah, exactly right. And you can see, as well as there being lichens on the rock, you look up into the oak tree and into the crown of the tree, and we are seeing lichens on the oak tree.
And one of the other things about lichens is that they're also embedded in our culture as well. So we use them to make dyes. Some people have cooked with them. So again, a bit like the oak trees and other native trees, they're really entwined in our cultural history. This isn't the tree we're here to see, but it's absolutely marvellous. So I hope this goes on the Tree of the Year shortlist at some point, because it deserves it.
Well, it's nice to have more than one entry.
Yeah,
I guess
that would be good, wouldn't it? Yeah.
Increase the chance of winning. But seeing as it's the first time you've come to the park, Jules, I thought you may as well see this.
Yeah, I love it. It looks quite elephantine from this from this angle, with this sort of like great long limbs sticking out. It's almost like a trunk, isn't it? Out into the blue, and
I think that's certainly going to be the word of the day. I'm not certainly going to try and trump that.
Okay, yeah, let's try and let's try and use it again in the next stop. Okay, we're going back to the car now, the buggy, the TVA. No, the
ATV.
The ATV. Now, as we go back towards the ATV, we can see a absolutely stunning tower on a hill. It's gorgeous. It's kind of like, well, it looks like it's in a fairy tale to me. Could you tell us a bit about that?
So, Old John Tower they started building it 1784, and it is a folly. And it was somewhere that the Greys, the owners, the Earls of Stamford, could entertain guests. And around the base of the tower, there is the remnants of an old racetrack. At the side of the tower, there's an old stable block, and the Greys were certainly great horse fanciers, and they entered race horses into various events. And along the old racetrack, there's still remnants of old furlong markers, and they were able to entertain the guests, stand upon the roof of the tower, and get an idea of how well the horses were performing.
Brilliant. And the Greys being the family of Lady Jane Grey, is that right?
Yes, that's right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's absolutely stunning. It looks like the sort of, if you're drawing a scene in a fairy tale, you'd be drawing a little turrety round tower on top of a hill, wouldn't you? And there'd be probably Rapunzel at the top, letting down her hair. On this occasion, we've got on this occasion we've got a very fit-looking person who's just run a ring around the bottom of the tower and is now running towards us, obviously making use of this wonderful environment to keep up their fantastic fitness. Right, okay, now we are going back to the vehicle, and I think is next stop the tree,
yes,
our destination. Okay, brilliant. I think I've actually worked out how to get in this time, which is... Oh no, that's letting me in. Oh, thank you. What a gent. Thank you. Right, we are now out of the vehicle and we are walking towards the special tree. And how much of a walk is it from here?
So I can see it already.
Oh.
And I'd say we're only about 200 yards away from it.
I still haven't seen it.
I'm deliberately walking in a way that it's going to appear.
Oh, he's hiding it from us.
There's
my goodness, two fallow deer.
Yeah.
The beautiful spotty backs sort of trotting away. And then they're stopped and they're looking at us. They're not too shy actually, are they?
No, they're not.
They look just like double Bambi. They're very beautiful.
You'll notice on all the trees, and there's about a dozen smaller oak trees that we planted, and these are about 30 years old now. Again, you can see how we've literally topped the smaller trees, and that's because we don't want to leave these trees just to get huge and maidens and straight and tall. So we want these to be stunted and more open grown. So we've cut the tops off and thinned them slightly, and then again we're hoping that will make them longer lived.
And of course oak trees love a lot of light, don't they? And these have got quite a lot of light and space around them, haven't they?
Yes, there's plenty of space.
I can see it now. Oh my goodness, what a beast. How fantastic. So it's the Bradgate Park's oldest oak, isn't it? So does it have another name beyond that?
I think people People give it various names, but
Do they? Yeah,
it's just the oldest tree in the park.
yeah.
I suppose for many years we've tried to keep it a bit sort of secret. That's probably for the benefit of the tree.
Yes.
And certainly the fact that it's within a spinney, people aren't walking up to it, and that's helped the tree. I feel that it's obviously found some good growing conditions, and despite the general habitat of the park being poor upland soil, shallow, it's found some incredible growing conditions here. It's been sheltered, so that it's not been exposed to too much wind force, and also it's nice and open. So sort of from midday to right through into the evening, it's going to get plenty of light as well.
Yes.
So I think there's been a number of factors that have certainly helped to prolong the life of the tree.
Yes, absolutely. Wow, it is a stunner. So just to try and describe this tree, it's immensely tall. It's probably about the size of probably about the height of a house, would you say?
Yeah, it's good 45 feet.
Yeah, and it's got a very gnarly bole. I call it a bole rather than a trunk because it's really big and broad, and it's kind of split into two, kind of more than two, and it's got some dead branches coming out the middle. It's got one gorgeous, great long twisted limb reaching out, and they're propped up. But it's kind of snaking, isn't it? Oh, it's elephantine, that's what it is.
Yeah,
let's use our favourite word of the day.
It's definitely elephantine.
Yeah. And you can see it looks like there's faces everywhere, aren't there? It's like in that dead bit of branch there.
Yeah.
You can see like a sort of twisted sort of face with a great long nose, and what a beautiful beast. So, Matt, could you tell us a bit about its cultural connection to human beings?
Well, it certainly it was aged back in 2014 by a tree consultancy called Bosky, and we obtained a grant funding to tag and map many trees across the estate, of this being one of them, and it was aged at 818 back then, which puts us at around about the 830 mark now.
Right.
In terms of relations to humans, predates the Magna Carta.
Wow.
And one of the most notable former residents of Bradgate Park obviously being Lady Jane. When she was a child living on the park, the tree would have already been quite a mighty oak of about 300 years.
Gosh, so Lady Jane Grey would have known this tree, wouldn't she? She'd be familiar with it, probably sat underneath it.
Yeah, which is somewhat remarkable.
Yeah,
so,
maybe had a little picnic under here. That's what I would have done. Yeah, fantastic. And it's wonderful that you're protecting it. And actually, despite this sort of really craggy bole, it's looking in pretty good health, isn't it? It's got loads of leaves all around. Are you feeling sort of confident about its future, given how it is?
Certainly, yeah. You've pointed out the props. These props have been in place, supporting certainly this limb. If we walk around the other side of the tree, you can get a bit more of an impression as to what the props are actually achieving for the tree. In due course, I believe we'll probably upgrade these props, which are basically telegraph posts with Land Rover tyres that have been cut, which is certainly an effective way of doing things, but we have evolved the propping techniques that are now, you can see the tree in the distance over there by the compound, that's called the Pheasant Garden.
Right, yes.
And there's an oak tree there that's supported by a prop. Now that is manufactured using metal sort of steel work, and then there's a cup section that's manufactured, and then that's a more sympathetic way of actually supporting that bough.
Yes.
Regarding the actual cover of the foliage, like you say, totally agree that it's still got reasonable foliage cover. certainly certain things that we do have to watch out for is shade, and that is partly why we've cut the tops off the trees around it. But also you can see where we've got a bit of interference here with this Scots pine at the back.
Yeah, it's actually touching, I think.
So
almost touching.
That is something that we would look to keep in check.
Yeah.
So this Scots pine, as lovely as it is, that Scots pine's more like 70 years old, and we wouldn't want that to be shading out. So that's something we'll probably climb up there and just cut the limb off the Scots pine and stop that, because you can see if we just leave that doing what it's doing, it's going to start shading out. And it's really important that we keep the living mass of this tree, because there's a balance there between the living mass and the dead mass of the tree, the static mass, and it's that balance as a ratio for the tree. You know, if you look at a younger tree there, you can say that almost 100% of the crown of that tree is alive, whereas you look at this tree and you start thinking maybe 50%. So the closer that ratio between the living mass and the dead mass, if the closer that gets more like to a 1-to-1, then the tree will then gradually just be going into decline. So you know, the tree will not live forever, but pretty confident it's going to outlive us guys.
It's an amazing thought, isn't it? And it's obviously very loved, and I think the importance is not just about the tree itself, is it? So really ancient oaks like this, they support enormous numbers of species, some of which only live on ancient oaks. So that's why we need to protect this tree as much as we possibly can, and also bring on those veteran oaks of the future that you're doing just that, aren't you, here in the park?
Yeah, very
Absolutely
much so.
Vital.
Very much so. As we've driven across the park, we've seen various planting that's been supported by the Tree Council, and like you say, that certainly has been planting more oak trees, but then also other nectar-bearing species, rowan, blackthorn, hawthorn, gorse, and these are all important, like you say, for the deadwood insects that live within the ancient oak tree, and then as the tree gets older, it then develops more veteran features, and those crags, holes are very important roosting habitats certainly for owls and bats.
And so oak trees in the UK collectively support more than 2,300 species, some of which are completely reliant on oak trees. They couldn't survive without oak trees. And one of the things we were talking about earlier as we drove up was the fact that there are, some beetles, for example, some longhorn beetles, for example, they spend their lives as larvae living in deadwood, but then the adults, they need nectar when they grow up. So again, it's really important to have those nectar sources nearby, isn't it?
Yeah, totally. Very, very much is. Yeah, and that's what we're looking to do on the park. We are planting those supporting plants, like I've mentioned.
Fantastic, wonderful. This incredible tree that we're standing in front of is one of the 10 contenders in this year's Tree of the Year competition. And the theme of this year's competition is culture and the history and culture associated with trees in our world. Ancient oaks are absolutely thread in our culture. I'm particularly interested in them. I wrote a book about oak trees called Oak Lore. And one of the things that I talked about was the way that the oak tree intertwines with our lives, with lots of different species, but also with human lives and with our culture. There were so many stories associated with the oak tree. One of my favourites is the story of Charles II and the Boscobel oak. So before Charles II became king, he was fighting the parliamentarians, and he took a terrible drubbing at a battle, and he needed to escape, and he escaped to Boscobel House, and he was with this soldier called Colonel Careless, and this soldier suggested that they hide in the oak tree overnight rather than the house, and they did, and even though the parliamentarian troops were wandering nearby, they didn't find the king and his soldiers, and they escaped, and eventually they returned, and that led to the restoration of the monarchy. The thing I like about this story is the cultural links then go on and on. because at that point a day of national celebration was declared throughout the land, and that was the 29th of May, and that became Oak Apple Day, and everybody would party, and if the best people at the party, the coolest people at the party, they waved oak branches and wore oak leaves, and if you're super cool, you had lots of oak apples on your, so little galls on your oak branches. And if you didn't have little symbols of oaks, then others were apparently within their rights to take a bunch of nettles and attack you with nettles, which wasn't so nice. So it was also called Nettle Day. It was also known as Pinch Bum Day and Maid's Ruin Day. The story goes on. But the other sort of fun cultural connection to that is it also brought about lots of pubs called the Royal Oak. And the last time I looked, there were about 400 pubs called the Royal Oak throughout the land. So the cultural tales just go on, and that's just the oak tree. But all of our native trees have some fantastic stories associated with them. In fact, every old tree has a story to tell. It's like us, like every older person. We all got a story, a history to tell. Yeah, okay.
So yeah, we're just walking back from the oldest tree now, and we're just sort of musing over just that connection that humans have got to trees. I think it's the fact that an oak tree can sort of live centuries, and really that puts our lifetimes somewhat in perspective. And the fact that an oak tree can just go from the tiniest of acorns to a huge mass of timber, and that is just really fantastic. How you could cut open a tree and see all those different tree rings, those years of growth, and then just sort of put that in context. What was happening? Was it Dick Whittington that was the Lord Mayor of London for the last time? Was it the Battle of Agincourt? Was it the Magna Carta? And it's for people like you that actually write books about it, Jules, that can say it a lot better than me.
That was brilliant. And we're not going to cut this one in half, are we, Matt?
No, we're certainly not. And the fact that it's hollow, we just can't see those rings anymore.
No. Thank you. Brilliant. Right, this is our final leg on our walk, and we're now in a polytunnel, and it's really warm because the sun's beating down outside and it smells gorgeous. And we are surrounded by lots of little trees. Matt, can you tell us a little bit about these?
So the polytunnel was funded by the Tree Council, and it's just very important that we're growing on oaks for the future from acorns that have been collected on site, so they've got the genetic continuity of the long-lived oak trees, and hopefully they'll grow and carry on long into the future.
And is it a mix of acorns from all different trees in here, or are you taking up specific trees?
It's a bit of a mix. Sometimes, where we can and where they're viable. If we get to the acorns from a veteran tree before the deer, then
yes, of course.
That's certainly something that we're looking to grow on. So generally, that's where we'll try and harvest them from. That we've put a frame down before with a bit of a grill, so we can collect the acorns, but then they don't get eaten. That's certainly quite a good technique. And then we grow on from the old trees where we can. Yes,
they're really lovely. So we've got really tiny little trees with some of them have got about 5 or 6 leaves, and then they go up to sort of just above our heads. And I think what always strikes me is the diversity in leaf shape and colour that you see all around you. So even in the same place within oak trees, it's incredible the different shapes and sizes you get, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is. And looking, some of the oaks have been collected from Swidland Woods as well, and where you've got a stalked leaf, that is a sessile oak.
Ah, yes.
And where you've got a leaf that's coming off that isn't stalked, that is an English oak, yes. but that will have a stalked acorn.
Yes. So that's the key way to tell the difference, isn't it?
It certainly is.
Yeah, brilliant. Thank you, I love it. The Bradgate Park oak is one of 10 iconic trees across the UK in the running for the Tree of the Year competition. Other examples include the Tree of Peace and Unity in County Antrim. That's an iconic lime tree. I say a lime tree. It's actually two lime trees which are fused together so that the trunk has become bound as one, and they've become inseparable. And as such, they've become a symbol of harmony and hope. So newly married couples sit beneath that tree for a blessing, and it became a particular symbol of peace and reconciliation when Tony Blair, David Trimble and John Hume met here in 1998 at the signing of the Good Friday Agreement. Another example is the Argyle Street ash in Glasgow. This tree is growing right next to some historic flats, and it's seen as a symbol of local resilience. It has survived all kinds of things, including Victorian industry, the Clydeside Blitz, recent development and, so far, ash dieback. One of its cultural connections is that it was featured in a 1935 book by James Cowan. The book was called From Glasgow's Treasure Chest, and in it he describes the tree as quite the most graceful ash I have seen. Well, that's enough of me. Meanwhile, thank you so much to Matt and Natasha. It's been great fun talking trees with you.
Thank you for listening to the Woodland Trust Woodland Walks. And don't forget to subscribe to the series on iTunes or wherever you're listening to us, and do give us a review and a rating. And why not send us a recording of your favourite woodland walk to be included in a future podcast? Keep it to a maximum of 5 minutes, and please tell us what makes your woodland walk special. Or send us an email with details of your favourite walk and what makes it special to you. Send any audio files to podcast@woodlandtrust.org.uk, and we look forward to hearing from you.